The saying that immediately comes to mind when I think of Bread and Fred is don't judge a book by its cover. It's because when you take a quick glance at Bread and Fred, it looks like a cute game that'll end up being casual. While it does indeed look cute and inviting, it ended up being much more than that. I played Bread and Fred for around 2 hours, so this is just the first impressions of what it may have to offer. Almost immediately, I took notice of Bread and Fred's intricate mechanics. It left me thinking that there's a high ceiling when it comes to how the mechanics can be utilized, and there's enough room for creative playstyles. I can't speak for myself and say that I was able to pull off creative and complex moves because the truth is that I wasn't able to. I felt that the mechanics were clunky until I started to get the hang of them. Even when I was more comfortable with them, I knew that I was performing at a very low level. It's one thing to play a game at a very low level and still be able to advance, but with Bread and Fred I wasn't able to. It's because I started to get frustrated as I was expected to pull off more intricate moves. Chances are that it's because Bread and Fred is really meant for multiplayer, but since I was playing by myself, I don't know how the gameplay could change, or if it would. It's nice being able to play solo, but seeing as how I was literally having to move around dead weight, I felt held back. It's funny to be attached to a literal rock, but the novelty of that quickly runs out when you're expected to pull off mechanically intricate acrobatic moves while being held back. I want to say that this has more to do with me playing by myself than with the overall nature of the game, but since the option to play this way is available, you would think that it wouldn't be as demanding as it ended up being. For all I know, chances are that I just sucked and this game really isn't for me. Dealing with as much frustration as I dealt with, after a little over 2 hours of playtime I decided that I'd seen enough. I didn't want to waste time struggling to play when I knew that I could be playing other games that aren't as demanding as this one. I do appreciate a good challenge every now and then, but when I don't see myself progressing within a reasonable amount of time, I feel like I'm fighting a losing battle. Despite how I feel, I still think that Bread and Fred is a pretty relaxing game. It's not only because of the cute and welcoming aesthetics, but because of the overall vibe. That'll work to draw in people other than hardcore gamers, but I still feel that there's a disconnect between its art design and its gameplay. I can see younger members of my family being amused at the cute-looking art found in Bread and Fred only to end up frustrated for the same reasons that I've discussed. The point I'm trying to make is that looks can be deceiving. While I feel that way, chances are that someone else will be drawn in by the cute aesthetics to such a degree that they'll dedicate the time needed to get a grasp of Bread and Fred's intricate mechanics. If it isn't clear by now, I have mixed feelings towards Bread and Fred. There were a handful of things that I enjoyed, but overall, my perceived cons outweighed its pros. I've previously played cute-looking games that ended up being difficult to very difficult, such as Celeste, Super Meat Boy, and Germinal, but what kept me going was being able to get better within a timely manner. It could just be that the difficulty spike in Bread and Fred was more drastic than I expected. I don't know. What I do know is that there are too many games out there that would click with me sooner rather than later for me to spend more time that is necessary on one where it really just isn't for me. If what you've seen of Bread and Fred appeals to you, feel free to give it a try. I could be wrong, seeing as how I only played it for a brief amount of time, but it seems like the kind of game that offers a lot of replayability through its open-ended nature. How long does it usually take before you decide to move on from a game? What are your thoughts in regards to cute-looking games being harder than they appear to be? How do you feel about going solo for a game that's meant for multiplayer? If you enjoyed this content, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Thank you very much for watching.